Hi, my name is Mohammad Saleem. I'm an attorney at the law firm of Davis and Danusa Ikhlas and Saleem, and I've been practicing immigration law since 2010. In this video, I'm going to talk about 3 ways that immigrants can protect themselves from ICE raids. Now, in the news, President Trump has announced that he will have ICE raids starting this July 14th, this Sunday. The New York Times has confirmed this, that it will be throughout the United States in major cities that could be affecting up to 2,000 families or so. Cities such as New York. So if you're a New York City resident or an immigrant living here in any other major city, there's some cause for concern. The part I want to talk about first, and the most important part, is what to do if ICE comes to your home, your employment, or approaches you in a public place, let's say transportation. Well, if they come to your house and they knock on your door and they say that we have a warrant for arrest of an alien, a sample that I have right now, which I'm happy to share with people as well. Oftentimes, what people don't realize that it's not a search warrant. It doesn't allow them to enter into your home. And in fact, you don't have to allow them into your house and unless there's some sort of consent given to them. So they will oftentimes ask you that, please let us into your house, open the door, let us in. You don't have to let them in. You can speak to them if you choose to do so through the door. Now they're going to say that they're there to arrest an individual or whoever it is that they're there to arrest. Ask them to present that warrant under the door so that you can review it and see if it's been signed by a judge. Oftentimes these warrants are just signed by an ICE officer or a designated official. There's a question as to the validity of the warrants and so forth. Now the other thing is that you have the right to remain silent. You don't have to speak to them. You can say to them that I don't feel comfortable speaking to you and that I want to exercise my right to remain silent. Even if you're undocumented, you still have all the constitutional rights within the United States to remain silent if you're approached by law enforcement. And you don't have to let individuals such as law enforcement officers come into your home unless you consent to it or unless they have a search warrant, which oftentimes they don't. The other thing is that you should tell them that you want to have an attorney and that you're seeking an attorney. Whether they arrest you there or they don't arrest you, say that I want to have an attorney, I want to be present with an attorney if I'm going to have to speak to you. That is a constitutional right that's given to you, and you should exercise that right. In my instances, I've given my card to my clients where I tell them that if someone says, they are law enforcement and they want to speak to you, tell them this is my attorney and that, they should speak to my attorney. The other thing is that you could come into contact at your employment, your work, whether it's a restaurant or anywhere else. Now ICE, the same parameters apply. They don't have to, they cannot get access to a part of your work that is not public. So they can't come into the back of your restaurant or anywhere that you may work in private and so forth. So they can't arrest you there. And also, don't panic when you come across law enforcement. Remain calm, exercise your right to have an attorney, and don't speak as well. Exercise your right to remain silent. The other thing is that now you may encounter ICE. There are some reports that maybe they're there in public places such as subways or buses and transportation and so forth. The same rules apply. You don't have to speak to them. You don't have to answer any questions that they ask you. Exercise your right, and also to remain calm and not to panic and so forth. And that you should tell them that if you come across them that you'd like to have an attorney present. Those are the most important things in terms of interacting with ICE. Now, what happens if your loved one is arrested by ICE and so forth, and they're put in removal proceedings, or that they had a final order of removal or an order of removal previously issued? Now, there's a couple of things that you can do in regards to that as well. The first thing is that you can have an attorney file a motion to reopen your case. If there's an order of removal, you can go before an immigration judge and ask them to open the case. Sometimes the order of removal was issued in absentia, and you can show good reason and cause to have that order of removal vacated. The other thing is that if you were being removed to a country, it's possible that you may be able to show that the country conditions have changed to a point where removing you there would cause you some harm, and you should ask for relief for under that provision. The other thing that people can do is that they can make an application for a request for a stay of removal. Now, I have to say that this is discretionary because you're telling Department of Homeland Security that this person should not be removed. And if you're going to do that with an attorney, you should try to make the arguments that there's going to be some serious harm and that the stay should be granted as it will prevent harm and the family would not, and that the person wouldn't be a threat or the harm would be to the family and so forth of the person that's removed. Now, the final point is that let's say, your loved one, you come home, or wherever it was, you find out one of your loved one was arrested by ICE. What do you do? How do you find this person? There is a ICE locator for detained individuals. And if your loved one has been detained, all you need to do is, if you know their alien number and their country of birth, you can go to the website, and I can post a link for that as well. It identifies where that person is being held. That's oftentimes the first and most important step if your loved one's been detained by ICE, to find out where they are, which facility, because they could be in different facilities. In Jersey, there's a couple of facilities alone, so it could be one of them. In other states, there's many facilities. So that's really critical for you to be able to do so. You can also do that if you don't know their alien number. You can do it by their name, their country of birth, and their date of birth as well. So those are the three things that I think are the most important for immigrants to be aware of when they come into contact with ICE. I'll post some links that are helpful to immigrants or people that are concerned by ICE raids, and also post a sample of the warrant of arrest of an alien to show what things you should be cautious if you come across ICE officers that are trying to arrest someone that you know, or including yourself, for arrest of an alien. Thank you.